ESPN NFL business analyst Andrew Brandt with Armen and Levack at Andrew Brandt on Twitter. Andrew, the movie Concussion coming out. What's your reaction on the effect that's going to have on the NFL moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, this is an issue that the NFL is not going to get away from maybe for years, maybe decades. I haven't seen it. I'm actually hosting a screening in Philadelphia tonight about the movie, and I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of pushback on the NFL the same way when the documentary League of Denial came out, that they were somehow ignoring, misrepresenting, or even falsifying, at worst, the science about what football can do to future head trauma. It's really going to be interesting for me to see what the reaction of the league is. They've really been quiet about it. At some point, they're going to have to give a statement. And my sense is that statement will be, well, that was another time. That was a previous time. And they're right. You know, since about 2009, there's been great advances with concussions in the NFL. There's a lot, you know, the kickoffs were moved up, so there'd be less kickoffs. That's the highest velocity play in the game. They have stepped up enforcement on rules on this area. They have better protocols. They have 20 doctors around the country that are independent neurologists. So this is definitely a time that they want to distance themselves from, and we'll see if they're successful doing that.
Andrew, this season we could have two sub-500 teams in the playoffs. Should the NFL consider reseeding in the postseason?
You know, I guess my answer is no, because I've been, you know, having been there, been with the Packers, been in the league, seen this happen to different teams in different divisions. My response is kind of what the NFL always tells us when we asked about it from a team point of view, which is it all evens out. You know, one year it's your division that's producing a 7-9 champion. The next year it's someone else's. The next year it's someone else's. And you sure feel okay about it when it's you and not great when it's others. So I think it all evens out. This year happens to be NFC East and AFC South. We remember, what was it, NFC South when the Saints went out and beat the Seahawks. So I guess it's just luck of the draw, and it'll all even out.
ESPN NFL business analyst Andrew Brandt with Armen and Levack at Andrew Brandt on Twitter. Andrew, Christmas time. What's the best Christmas gifts you've ever seen as being a part of a team, or gifts that you've heard about in the NFL?
That's a good one. I guess personally, with the Packers, I stumbling on the year, maybe 2003 or 4, we went and played on Christmas Eve, I think, maybe even Christmas Day, at the Vikings. And that was our nemesis, playing at that Metrodome with that damn horn they play all the time. So we won that game. It was a huge win for us. Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss, that crew. And so it was such a sweet Christmas coming off that. To put a little melancholy spin on it, however, the next day, or maybe even that day, the day we came back from the win, we heard that one of the great all-time players for the Packers and the Eagles, by the way, had died suddenly. His name was Reggie White.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Tough transition, but I have to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Color Rush games this Thursday night? The Bucs are playing the Rams. They look like ketchup and mustard running around the field. We had the colorblind game. We had the weird Jags game. What are your thoughts on the Color Rush games?
You know, I guess I look at it from a marketing point of view. Anything to spice up interest with teams that are not going to do it on their own. You know, it was interesting to me that I watched Thursday night, you know, Lions, Packers. There was no Color Rush. And last week, the Vikings and Cardinals. So I would say those teams don't need the Color Rush to spice up the marketing of the game, but Jags, Titans, and Rams, Bucks, they do. So here you are asking me on a radio program about the uniforms, where in this interview we would have never talked about the Rams and Bucks matchup.
That's fair, dang
on
it.
Thursday Night Football. So I guess in that sense, it's working.
Oh, great.
Fair point, sir. Fair point.
ESPN NFL business analyst Andrew Brandt with Armen and Levack at Andrew Brandt on Twitter, 1045 The Team, your home for New York sports. All right, Andrew, you're a Philly guy. I'm going to ask you a very simple question here. The NFL FPI gives the Eagles a 50% chance of winning the NFC East. Again, just a softball here for you. Who wins the NFC East this year?
You know, I picked the Eagles a long time ago, even when they were struggling with all this noise about Chip Kelly and can he be a GM and coach. I just think that they're a team on the rise, that Bradford is getting better every week, and their defense is getting better. The answer should have been the Giants. They just gave away so many games. Boy, I mean, I watched a lot of their games. You know the stat, if all the games ended with 75 seconds left, they'd be something like 10-3. And, of course, they're 6-7. They don't hold any tiebreakers. They play the Panthers. So it's not going to be the Giants. It's going to be the Eagles or the Redskins, and I think the Eagles, and I like their team. I like the fact it's getting better, and I like the fact what they're doing on the run game. Even though DeMarco Murray's been a disappointment, the three-headed running back has not with Sproles and Matthews.
Hey, Andrew, long term, will daily fantasy be legal in New York? I mean, I'm worried I won't be able to scratch my itch every Sunday.
I know, and this has been one of the biggest stories I've been covering because, you know, from my angle of it, the NFL has always maintained that gambling flies in the face of integrity, can't have gambling. Even with DFS, they said, hey, we're not an investor like baseball with DraftKings and basketball with FanDuel. But they got two owners, Kraft and Jones, who are investors in DraftKings. All these teams have sponsorship deals. You know how ubiquitous the advertising is. I think there's an issue here. What is the NFL going to do when courts like New York say it's gambling? To your question, I always look at these things as negotiation. I think the Attorney General is shutting them down, not really wanting them to go away, but wanting to have a piece of the pie like they do with horse racing and lotteries. And I think this is a move towards regulation, as we're going to see in a lot of states, I think. I think the world's just catching up to them. I mean, obviously, this has been going on for months, if not years, but now the world's catching up.
Andrew Brandt of ESPN. Andrew, what are you asking Santa for Christmas?
Peace on earth. Continued off-field stories that keep me busy.
There you go. Peace on earth. Got it. Thank you, Miss Universe. I appreciate that. All right, Andrew Brandt. Thank you so much.
Sir.
Happy holidays to you, and always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Same to you guys. Take care.